I have been cooking up a team for the rank battles that I am almost done working with in game. We're featuring Hisuian Gudra, Fluttermane, Thundurus. There's a different Thundurus than the one that we're currently using, but we also have Pelipper with the Overqwil and Shinpao. Um, I don't know how this team came to mind. I guess I was just looking for a Pokemon with Swift Swim. I was originally using the Basculegion, but I feel like I kind of needed to expand a little bit just to be able to use different Pokemon that is not Basculegion. So the team is actually very cool. It's got some unique stuff. We have a Shelter, Body Press, Sicilian Gudra, Fluttermane with Sub Calm Mind. Thundurus has actually Focus Blast, which is very scary, only because we have Pokemon, like a lot of Dark type Pokemon that are being used, especially like the Hisuian Gudra. You'll see it in the match, but it could be also very good against like Shiyu and of course, depending on the situation. Heatran is also a thing, but I'm thinking I might end up switching Thundurus Terra type for something else, because currently we have Terra type flying. But let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm trying to make this short and sweet just to like showcase some of the stuff that we're working with here. This team is not fully yet solid because I've been changing so many things around this team, and it's working pretty good. Of course, we did run into some losses where we went up against Breloom, and I think Breloom is probably like our biggest problem, mainly because it's got Spore and it's usually Focus Sash. So yeah, so here they ended up leading off Iron Bundle. Gudra is meant to be very tanky on the special defense, but I do have the EV spread out quite awkwardly in some of its other stats. But we have Heavy Slam and Body Press. Like, we even survived a Moonblast from the Fluttermane and we end up knocking it out with the Heavy Slam, which is very cool. So Gudra comes out. I end up going for the Body Press. I wasn't too worried about the Gudra going for Acid Armor, Shelter, whatever it was trying to do. And typically these things run Rest, Chestoberry. I was using Leftovers. I was being kind of cool. Somewhat different. But I didn't really care if it got full defense stacked, because I had Shinpao in the back, and Sacred Sword pretty much ignores stats. And I also had Thundurus. Thundurus comes in with a Focus Blast, and we end up connecting, luckily. So that's one thing that I gotta keep in mind, is that Focus Blast can miss, and I ended up going for the Volt Switch thinking that it was gonna be enough to pick up the knockout, but I guess not. So I wasn't too worried about it going for like a Heavy Slam or Body Press onto the Shinpao because we were Focus Sash. So we actually have some tech on here with the Shinpao. We have the Ruination. It was kind of inspired by, I think it was a previous team that I ended up using, which was really cool. So we did have the Ruination, and I thought that was cool. For situations like that, even if it wasn't a Gudra with the Acid Armor, it could be Pokemon like Toxapex. Ruination just puts pressure on the enemy team, depending on which Pokemon they are, especially the really bulky ones or the unaware Pokemon as well. Here we have another battle. So here, when I see a team like this, I immediately think that they were gonna just clap, but we ended up coming out on top because I was worried about the Breloom. So this was actually pretty funny because they ended up leading off with Urshifu. I didn't think Hurricane was gonna knock out the Urshifu. After it went for Sword Sense, I was like, okay, this is GG. We lost. But they ended up forfeiting the match, and we ended up taking it with Pelipper. And Pelipper's not even invested offensively, which is pretty funny to me. So this team looks like something that could be really good against me. But then the more I look at it, Swift Swim could be really good, especially, you know, the Landorus. The Overquill's got Swift Swim with Life Orb, with the Liquidation, and we have Aqua Jet as well, Crunch for the Goldango as well. But it just depends on what they end up going for in regards to like Terra type. Next battle, we have another Urshifu that comes in. This is the Fighting Dark one. I think the other one was also Fighting Dark. So they ended up making the switch here, and I ended up predicting the switch in. Well, I didn't, not necessarily, but I was like, wait, I'm pretty safe to go for the Sacred Sword. But I was actually surprised that this was a flame body. I thought this thing only had flash fire for some reason. But they ended up taking out the Shinpao, unfortunately, because of the flame body. And we had Focus Sash too. Blissey comes in, we end up going for the body press after a shelter, and they ended up forfeiting. So I thought that was pretty funny. I think, for the most part, a lot of people are running Gudra with Assault Vest with specially offensive stats. I want to say for the most part. But I thought that was pretty funny. That the team is actually being able to keep up with the Pokemon that are currently in the meta. Like I said, I kind of do want to change the Thundurus to like Terra Water maybe, or even Terra Ground, but I don't think it's going to be doing too bad. Like, I haven't gotten into a situation where the Thundurus goes 1v1 against a Heatran, because I think the Pelipper and the Overqwil kind of like prevent my opponents from bringing it in, so it's not too bad. And not only that, we have Thundurus also for a switch in, just in case if like they were to bring out Zapdos to like Volt Switch or, you know, Thunderbolt. Thundurus has Volt Absorb, and I did get into a situation like that. I think it was this one. Oh yeah, it was. So this is another scary team. I was kind of concerned and trying to figure out like how Sneasler was going to be able to set up the Unburden, or maybe if it was a Poison Touch. I think it's Poison Touch or Poison Point. I don't remember which one it was. Of course, Dragapult is scary with the Choice Scarf as well. Ursaluna, maybe the Annihilate Pad Trick Room, question mark, or maybe Dragapult, who knows. But let's go ahead and replay this, as we ended up leading off with Pelipper to set up the rain, and I brought Thundurus as well. And luckily, we end up absorbing that Volt Absorb. We ended up going for the Wild Bolt Storm. Started connecting the Focus Blast. I was hoping for another one to connect. This is the offensive Gudra I was talking about, and I wasn't expecting it to have Ice Beam. Ends up going for the Heavy Slam, picks up the knockout on the Thundurus. We bring in the Overqwil, Liquidation. I was kind of concerned, thinking that they were probably going to swap out into another Pokemon, but Rotom comes in. Even with the Fairy Terra, I actually made the play. I was like, wait, this thing can actually Terra Grass on me, so I'm just going to go for the Gunk Shot. Dragapult comes in, we pick up the knockout with Crunch, and that is GG. So yeah, after all the testing, like before, I was losing extremely bad with the Pokemon that I was bringing in. With this team, with Basculegion, I forgot what other Pokemon we had. I think I had like the Grimmsnarl, trying to set up like screens and stuff, but I'm like, bro, I'm doing way too much setups and trying to figure out like how I'm gonna put this team together to make sense. But luckily, Gudra is pretty bulky enough to survive Flutter Mane. Of course, even after a Calm Mind, I'm pretty sure we can survive an attack, and just to threaten the opponent with like Heavy Slam and whatnot. So that's mainly what I kind of build the Gudra around for. And to surprise players, we also have Earthquake on the Gudra as well for Heatran or any other Steel type Pokemon that could be extremely problematic. But yeah, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with Thundurus. The Focus Blast seems a little bit too sketch, but it's been working very well. I originally had the Terra Blast flying, just to be able to target those grass type Pokemon, just in case if I do get in that kind of situation. But so far, as far as the meta goes, it hasn't been extremely problematic for me as far as this team goes. But I'll end up showing, you know, the stats and the whole team eventually, because the EV spreads are kind of funky on some of the Pokemon. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll change Thundurus to get Nasty Plot as well. But who knows? But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.